So you just got the Sony ZV-1 and you want to get right to making videos with it. Well, in this video, I'm going to share the best settings for YouTube videos so you can get the best looking footage possible. Let's get it.
You gotta just press record.
Hey, what's up? It's Omar with Think Media, helping you build your influence with online video. And on this channel, we do tech gear reviews as well as tutorials just like this one. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, prior to setting up all these settings for the ZV-1, the first thing you want to do is actually set up your shot. And so put the ZV-1 where you want it to live, set up your lights, and this is all before we're going to mess with the settings. And if you do not have lights, that's okay. I would recommend though, definitely set it with the window behind the camera so you have window light coming at you, and that'll give you the best look possible just to begin with. And now that your camera is in place, make sure you're either zoomed all the way out or where you want it to be. But the first setting you're gonna do is change your mode to movie mode. And then once you do that, you're gonna select manual exposure. This will give you full control over your ISO, your shutter speed, and your aperture. Now, you don't need to know what all these things mean or what they are, but it's definitely important that you know once you set up your camera that you have full control over these things. But the next thing would be to choose your frame rate and resolution. This camera shoots in 4K at 24 and 30 frames per second. However, we like to use 30 frames per second here on Think Media, and because we choose that for our frame rate, we're going to double our frame rate, and that will be our shutter speed. So because we're shooting 30 frames per second, we're gonna set our shutter speed to 1/60th of a second. So now that you got your frame rate and resolution selected, the next thing is to set your aperture. And you wanna set that aperture to either 1.8 or like 2.8. And if you zoom in on the ZV-1, you'll notice that the aperture actually will just automatically change from 1.8 to 2.8. And you can trust that this camera is actually gonna keep you in focus even at very low apertures. That's what I love about this camera. And I like to shoot all the way zoomed out at 1.8, not only because most of the spaces I'm shooting in are pretty tight, but also it gives me the most background blur as much as possible. One of my favorite features on the Sony ZV-1 is that it has an unlimited record limit, and shooting in 4K and not having to think if the camera is just gonna automatically shut off is pretty sweet. But out of the box, it will shut off. And that's just kind of the default setting for overheating. And so if the camera is getting warm, it'll just stop recording. And the way to bypass this is by going to auto power off and change it from standard to high. So now that you got your frame rate, your shutter speed, and your aperture all locked in, the next step is to set your ISO until your shot is properly exposed. The way you know that you are properly exposed is by checking out the exposure meter at the bottom of your screen. And you want it to fall around 0. So if you're at -0.03, that's okay. If you're at plus 0.03, that's okay, but definitely want it to keep it more or less around 0. Now, if you bring your ISO all the way down and your aperture is at 1.8, but the image is still too bright, use the aperture to darken your image. Just increase the aperture, or you could dim the lights that you are using. And always know that you can always make those slight exposure tweaks in post or in editing as well. The next thing you want to set up is your focus. Now, what's so cool about the Sony ZV-1 is there is a few things to make sure you're nailing focus based on the type of videos you are shooting. And I think you just want to ask yourself, are you going to be showing off products or things in front of the camera? And so do you want it to focus off your face and onto that product? Or are you just doing talking head videos like this and not showing anything? And the reason I ask is because if you are showing off things in your YouTube videos, then you want to enable product showcase mode. You can do this by hitting FN on the back of your ZV-1 and then just go to product showcase mode and turn it on. Personally, I don't really use product showcase mode because I typically shoot the B-roll to cover my talking head videos anyway. And so I really like letting the camera use the eye autofocus in video. And so just make sure based off the type of videos you're making that you select that right focus setting. All right, so we are just a little over halfway, but if you are getting value in this video, can you hit the like button for me? And I wanted to pass the question off to you. What will you be using the ZV-1 for? Obviously, you're using it to shoot YouTube videos or your videos, but let me know what kind of videos you're shooting. And I wanted to point your attention to our ZV-1 playlist, where we break down a lot of things like the best accessories, but also other kinds of use case scenarios with the ZV-1. But more than anything, if you want to get the most out of your ZV-1, make sure you check out that playlist. The next is to set your white balance. I love auto white balance many times, but I also like my settings for YouTube videos like this to be locked in, and so that there's consistency throughout my video as far as colors go. And you can actually do this by either locking in your temperature or setting white balance. Using auto white balance is cool if you just want to set it and forget it. However, if I'm already setting up my camera for a talking head shot, I definitely wanna lock in my white balance for consistency. Now, before you do this, you wanna grab something white or kind of gray. We actually use a white balance card, and don't ask me why it's gray, even though it's a white balance card, but these are very inexpensive and I use these to set custom white balance. I'll put a link to the white balance card that we recommend. It's very inexpensive and I think a cool thing to just have in your office or wherever you're shooting videos. Either way, you're gonna hop into your white balance settings, and then under either 1, 2, or 3, they're kind of like preset. So you can actually set this in a room that you know you'll always use the same setup with. But you're gonna hit set, and then as you see, there is a box that's in the middle of the screen. You can move this box, but either have someone or yourself hold up your white balance card or a white piece of paper, and then just hit the middle button, and the camera will set white balance to that object. Once you do that, just hit the middle button again, and then you have locked in your custom white balance for your very setting. But if you're gonna take it off and go vlogging or something, then definitely put it back to auto white balance. Now, if you follow all those steps, you should be getting a pretty good picture. So that leads us to setting our audio right. And I'll be using the RØDE Wireless GO for this example, but I'm gonna turn on my audio kit and put the mic where I want it. And then I'm gonna set my audio gain to be at around -12 decibels. I think it's important that when you set your audio that you talk at the level that you are going to talk in your video, and then to set your audio to whatever that may be. And now that you got your video and your audio all set up, ready to go, the next tip is actually oftentimes overlooked, but that is to run a test clip. Hit record on the camera, test your audio, talk, hold up whatever products you wanna hold up, do a good solid test, maybe say your intro or something, but stop recording, put it into a computer, and then check to see if you have something in your teeth or maybe you left something out on the floor or something behind you. And then also listen to the audio. Is there any scruffing or anything like that? But running a test will prevent you from ruining a shoot. And obviously, if you're a solo creator, let me know if you're a solo creator in the comments. That could be really frustrating. Go through a whole shoot and your shirt was rubbing on your mic or something. So definitely something to keep in mind. But if you want to check out that playlist on the Sony ZV-1, you can click or tap the screen. Or if you want to check out another video from Think Media, you can do that as well. And I can't wait to see you in a future one. Peace.